assertive. Ghana break for tonight.
The Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital's renal unit has reopened after more than 5 months of closure for outpatients with kidney disease needing dialysis. Patients have been asked to submit their current laboratory results to the facility, a prerequisite before being scheduled for dialysis.
They called me to come for lab request, so I come and do it today, so that I'll get a chance to do the dialysis for today. Now, they said they have opened, but we are going to pay $380. Normally it's cool, but we will take it like that. We will take it because outside we pay 500 cedis or 600 cedis or so. Yeah. So we will manage it for some time.
3 days after the New Patriotic Party's presidential primary, John Mahama has criticized President Akufo-Addo for orchestrating a grand scheme to elect his vice, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, as the party's flag bearer. The NDC flag bearer says the economic quagmire the NPP plunged the country into requires redemption, with all Ghanaians involved in the processes of recovery.
We also have a president who has run out of ideas on how to solve the economic challenges we find ourselves in. And by his recent declaration, his focus and last energies are going to be expended on installing his anointed successor as the next president. The NDC proposes a series of transition measures to address the economic decline and set Ghana on the path to recovery.
Accra recorded a 17% decline in road fatalities from 123 in 2021 to 102 in 2022, according to the Accra Road Safety Report. Road safety advocates say increased sensitization and adequate investment into road infrastructure will reduce the numbers.
Trend highlighted in the report can assist in allocating resources more efficiently. This includes financial resources, personnel and equipment, enforcement, education, and infrastructure development. Advocacy groups and NGOs can also use this report to make a case for policy changes and increase investment in road safety initiatives.
The reconstruction of Lagon General Hospital has been delayed due to withheld funds. In July 2020, the facility was demolished after the hospital's administration in 2015 reported of structural integrity issues. The La Dade Kotopon Member of Parliament, Rita Na Odole Soa, demanded an explanation from the sector minister in a statement on the floor of Parliament.
I know on authority that government now wanted to situate it within the context of Agenda 111. However, if you should resort to that, it will mean that the facility will have to be scaled down a bit, which is not what was originally contained in the agreement that came to this House.
Starting November 8, an environmental and sanitation impact assessment will be conducted in communities affected by the Akosombo and Pond Dam spillage as residents' relocation demands intensify. The spillage has displaced 39,000 residents in 8 districts, affecting 192 communities.
We have a team to conduct some environmental and sanitation assessment and structural integrity test of the structures. They are starting work tomorrow morning, and they have about 3 days to present their report. Then we'll quickly move to decontamination. At least this assessment will bring out exactly what level of contamination there is to those infrastructure that were affected in the emergency.
The party has been fair and transparent. That is the only thing I've always been preaching. And I must admit, this election is fair. And my grassroots have spoken. And therefore, I accept the results in good faith. I pledge my support that we're going to work tirelessly to break the 8. So, party members, that we are here. We should put everything behind us and let's unite this party. With unity, I believe we can break the 8. And I want to assure you, in 2024, the showdown is being translated to NBC. We have to come together and give NBC a showdown.
Well, so Kennedy Ohene Agyapong pledges his support to ensure the NPP breaks the 8. But how about the thought of him becoming a running mate or being considered as a running mate for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia? Is it a thought that the NPP itself will entertain, or Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia himself will entertain, especially considering Kennedy Agyapong's own personality and, as some political analysts have described it, his inconsistent nature? That's a conversation we're going to be having tonight here on Ghana Tonight. Stay with us, because Dr. Kwabena Kennedy and Dr. Asa Asante will be joining us. They have a thought on this. But coming up next here on Ghana Tonight, let's do this quickly, get this out of the way. The Ghana Health Service is justifying why it is embarking on the rebranding exercise worth over 5 million cedis against what critics say is a wasteful venture. In fact, the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Komar-Boadjeh, is going to be joining us on a bit on this, because after we got into this matter yesterday, laying the foundation for it, because of the questions that the Honorable Nelson Roxing Dafia-Mekpo, who's a member of Parliament for the South Dike constituency, is a member of the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament. He raised questions about the timing of this decision by the Health Service, plus whether this is the pressing need of the Ghana Health Service, reason why they are committing these resources to rebranding the service. But take a look at this. This is the portions of the statement from the Ghana Health Service, which was made public by the Member of Parliament yesterday. Take a look. They explain why they are on this path of the rebranding. It says, over time, several factors, internal and external, have negatively affected the brand image and visibility of the Ghana Health Service over the period. The service's response to the containing of the COVID-19 virus, they go on, and then also has been received with some measured appreciation from most stakeholders. And this goodwill has had positive effect on brand visibility and image. The Director General directed that the service be rebranded, giving the new strategic context and the changing stakeholder expectations. And then these are the key deliverables. They say they want to register the logo of the Ghana Health Service, development of a public relations policy, and the development of a brand book, and a number of things. They want monthly and so on. And the cost. This is the cost of this proposed rebranding of this Ghana Health Service. 5,117,000 Ghana cedis. Want to know exactly where this money is coming from and why this is the choice of the Ghana Health Service at a time like this. And that's the argument of the likes of Nelson Roxing Dafia-Mekpo, who are talking about whether this is the most pressing need of the Ghana Health Service at this time. And Dr. Patrick Komar-Boadjeh stayed over in the office, joining us on Zoom. Thank you. He's the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Komar-Boadjeh. Thank you so much for your time here on Ghana Tonight. Let's first of all establish this. I'm looking at the letter that communicates this rebranding, but really, what informs your decision to rebrand the Ghana Health Service? Why exactly?
Thank you very much. I believe that for us, maybe the right word is rebranding, but our objective on branding is to ensure that we provide the best services to the people of Ghana. One of the key objectives is to ensure that we improve quality of care, to improve customer care to our people. And some of the things we are doing to ensure that is that, one, that facilities must have signboards that are very clearly displayed, that shows them where they can find the facility, what services they offer, what time they start and what time they close. among others, including a website,
Okay.
etc., so that people can get information. We want to also ensure that the compound within which the services are rendered, including the chairs people sit on, everything, are in such a way that is dignified, make the environment more receptive for people who come in for their care. We want to ensure that if you go to a facility, you know who saw you, so that everybody must have the name tag, so you can make sure that the person see you is a nurse called this one, or a doctor called this, or whatever.
Okay.
Those are some of the key things.
I see. But then again, I just want to establish this, Dr. Patrick. We're seeing a cost of 5,117,000 Ghana cedis as the cost captured in this statement. First, confirm that for me if that's really the cost of this proposed rebranding. And where is this money coming from, this cost of the rebranding? How are you going to finance it?
See, in every plan, you have activities, even if you are not paying for it, you need to cost it. So for the brand document that we have, as whoever displayed it, but as shown, there's a section where talk about source of fund. The source of fund is coming from their facilities, IGF. These are our budget management centers. And so primarily, we expect about most of it to be done by the facility involved. And in so doing, they can mobilize resources, their IGF that they do, they can use some of it to ensure that they create their signboard, they get some of those things over a period. It's not just a one-time event, it's over a period. And so we have written community members, people's corporate social responsibility for anybody they can support. Our partners already supporting us in many ways in some of these brand, like Good Life, etc. It's all part of the branding that we are doing for the service. And of course, any donor that will support us will look at that. But they also could go to use a bit of the IGF to ensure that they are having tags, ID cards, etc., to make people more confident in the service that they are rendering. So it is not as if there's some money sitting somewhere that we are lifting to go and do. But if you look at the fact that a health center will make a signpost or improve a signpost, even at the cost of 100 cities, etc., these are all the things that we have collated as an estimate that it may cost this. But it's not as if we are making some money from some port to go and do it. And these are budget management centers who manage themselves. And this is to their good because they improve confidence in the care and then also are able to increase the share of the patients in the country.
I see. Now, the likes of, you've established the source of this being the internally generated funds. But then again, the likes of Roxanne Norris and Dafiamepo, whom we spoke to on the show last night, and a few others who raised concerns about the timing of this, and that on the health front, there are other pressing issues that, even if it is IGF, they want the Ghana Health Service to consider some of these other pressing issues, the emphasis on the pressing needs of the health service. Now, what's the justification for the timing of this rebranding that you want to do?
Well, I think this program started way back in 2020, and it was the COVID that made us shelve it. It's a process. It's not a one-time event that in the next 3 months you are going to spend 5 million cedis to rebrand. We have given indications on what every facility over the next period should work towards. And so it's not like there's money sitting somewhere. So it is a slow process. And mind you, Ghana Health Service is not a small organization. We have over 120,000 staff. If you add our casualty, that's about 140,000. We have more than 7,000 health facilities across the country. And so it's not a small organization that if you are doing to divide it by the 7,000 facilities, you can see how much each facility is spending to do that. But this is not a one-time event. This is a process where we believe that, and I'm sure if you went to a facility and the environment is clean, the chair you sit on is nicer than you used to be. The person who will see you and see his name and you're able to, in the night, see where the facility is. You're able to tell whether the facility is open or closed and what service they offer. But I think it is, for that, it is not too much. And it is not coming from a pot of money that we are taking, but it's part of the work that each facility will mobilize from their community, from the IGF, etc., to ensure that they improve the care for the people of Ghana. So that is what the service is supposed to do.
I see. You keep making reference to the fact that this is IGF and so on, and the fact that the various areas would have to come up with the money to do so. But I asked earlier, not just about the timing and whether this is the most pressing need of the Ghana Health Service at this time as this. Dr. Korle-Bu.
I think we are tackling many things. But it is not as if we have to finish one before we move to the other. But I believe that quality of care is at the center of our work. And if that is going to help us improve our quality of care and patient experience, I think it is worth it.
I see. This, to the likes of Nelson Ross in Dafiamepo, is a member of the Public Accounts Committee. This is expected to be captured by the Auditor General's report, if it is indeed within the framework of what you have just explained. So if this is captured and questions are raised, this is the entire explanation. There's nothing hidden in there, no surprises in the coming days and weeks on this matter, and this is the same justification you will give to it if this matter comes before the Public Accounts Committee?
That all we are doing is on to improve care, improve quality of care, improve patient experience, and provide better care for all citizens of this country, as the Constitution and the Act that established Ghana Health Service wants us to do. We are just working towards achieving those aims.
Well, we're
going to be very prudent with the resources, whatever we have, and our top priority is service delivery. That's what we are made to do.
Dr. Patrick Korle-Bu, thank you for joining us, the Director General of the Ghana Health Service. Now, Nelson Ross in Dafiamepo has also just indicated to me that this is an issue that he is also going to be following closely, per the responses you have given as well, and when this matter comes up before the Public Accounts Committee. So yesterday he spoke, we've heard from you, the Director General of Ghana Health Service. Thank you very much for this. And this is Ghana Tonight. And this is an issue that we're keeping a close tabs on to see how things unfold, and still going beyond what has been published or said to also establish the details of a few things. But coming up next, conversations are already beginning to thicken on who partners the new patriotic party's flag bearer-elect, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, as a running mate for the 2024 general elections. Now, we hear from a leading member of the party and also a political analyst. But we just played to you what Kennedy Agyapong said on Saturday. His pledged support for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, says going to help the party give the NDC a showdown in 2024 to break the 8 and so on and so forth. But there are a few people whose names have come up already as running mate considerations for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. About 9 names we've monitored, but we'll start with the first 4 today so that we're getting to the conversation. Now, take a look at this. First off, we got this Oseche Mensah Bonsu. So I'm a member of parliament, majority leader, Dr. Matthew Poku-Prempeh, Meshia South MP, Energy Minister, Dr. Yoseo Duchim, Bosomchi MP, Minister of Education, Kennedy Agyapong, Asin Central MP, flag bearer aspirant, defeated over the weekend. These 4 have so far, at least for the past few days after this primaries, the names have come up. Well, a number of people have ruled out Oseche Mensah Bonsu. Then again, Dr. Matthew Poku-Prempeh is in that pole position, and together with now how Kennedy Agyapong showing over the weekend as well has put him in the consideration for a running mate. But Dr. Arthur Kennedy is a little member of the MPP. He's joining us from his base in the United States. And Dr. Kennedy, good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. First, start off with you, that at least per what happened on Saturday, the election of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, how does that address the NPP's own tag, the political and tribal image of the party over the period?
I mean, that is the significance is that now the MPP can claim that it has elected a non-Akan flag bearer. That's significant. Of course, one can say that the election of Afoko against government support was more significant, but certainly one can say that the MPP has been able to elect a non-Akan flag bearer, and that is a positive. It will make some significance, but it will make some impact. But I think that if Afoko's election didn't make an impact, maybe we shouldn't exaggerate how much Bawumia's election will make. But it certainly gives you an answer to the narrative that it is an Akan party.
Well, there's a specific statement that the vice president, well, the flag bearer of the MPP made about being his own man. And also that reflects the fact that if he has to choose a running mate, he's going to be in his own man in that regard as well. And that it's a direct response to, according to his team, a direct response to those who make the point that he's going to be a puppet to President Kufuor. Now, how much of a difference or an impact will this direct statement of Dr. Bawumia make in all of these opinions that people hold?
I don't know that the statement per se will make an impact as much as doing things that are consistent with the statement. But I think people are more impressed by deeds rather than by talk. So I think that is a very good intent. If I was running his campaign, it was one of the main themes I will have him talk about and get examples of. I think a lot of people are not aware of this. I think part of why President Mills lost in 2000 to Kufuor was that he pledged to consult Rawlings morning, afternoon, and evening. And part of why he won in 2008 is that he picked John Mahama against the advice of Rawlings. So I think that demonstrating independence is useful, particularly when people perceive that the incumbent government has not done well. There's always the 8-year itch to change, which Ghanaians have demonstrated all through the Fourth Republic. So that will be a significant historical barrier for the MPP to overcome. The second thing, obviously, is the bad record of the government and the fact that Dr. Bawumia is trying to run on the ticket of a government that has been unpopular. I mean, there are ways of overcoming that, but that is a problem. And of course, the third one is the religious aspect. And of course, even though I mentioned three because the other one is the fact that the person on the other ticket is very well known and a former president whose almost dead career has been resurrected by the bad performance of the MPP government. So all those are challenges that the MPP ticket would face. Of course, it's a year away, so choice of running mates, the campaign message, the conduct of other campaigns, all those things will factor in.
All the persons who put themselves up to be elected were saying they are the ones who helped the NPP break the 8. The NPP delegates have elected Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and at least per Saturday's statement, you get that sense that all the other 3 persons, plus their supporters, have pledged to support that cause. Is Dr. Bawumia the one to help the NPP break the 8, as against all the others is going to be contesting against in 2024?
I think that every candidate has positives and negatives. So he has strengths and he has weaknesses. And I think that mainly the reason why party candidates do better than independents is that They wrap the party brand around themselves, and he will do that like everybody else. Having said that, I mean, aside from the baggage of the bad performance of the government, maybe he does not come with as much baggage as, for example, Nana Akufo-Addo did when he first became flag bearer. So from that point of view, I wouldn't say he has significant assets, but he does not have significant drawbacks as a person either.
Dr. Wamia has a number of things to deal with, Dr. Kennedy, and that what you made mention of earlier about this twin effect of what he said in the past, which is now being played against him, plus this administration's own performance, which is the incumbency disadvantage as well. Taking all of these two into consideration, how much of these would impact on his candidature, and does the strength of his candidature also give him the edge over these two factors that you made reference to earlier?
It will have a significant impact, but to be fair about it, the election is a year away, and one does not know what his campaign message will be. One doesn't know how good his campaign team would be, and one doesn't know how good the other campaigns would be. So whilst there are challenges, they can be overcome. There are actually people who run bad governments and run very good campaigns, and there are also people who run very good governments and end up losing elections because they run very bad campaigns. So I think that the future is yet to unfold. I think, for example, that Alan will be a significant factor. He almost certainly will take it to a second round. The question is, will he focus most of his fire on the MPP or on the NDC or on equal measure? How attractive would he be to uncommitted voters? This year, uncommitted voters or those who express dissatisfaction with both MPP and NDC are at historic highs. So how much of those can Alan cut into, and what will be the tenor of his campaign? Then John Mahama is coming back. What is he going to be like? Is John Mahama, John the Fifth, going to be different from John the Fourth? And how much so? How effective would he be at communicating how much he has learned? And in the same way, how effective will Bawumia be distancing himself from the mistakes of the government? So all those are imponderables that only time will tell us.
I see. But if you say how successful he will be or effective he will be in distancing himself from the failures of this government, I want to understand what you mean by that. So, for instance, if Dr. Bawumia walks up and says that, you know what, I was against e-levy, but then again, because I'm not the president, I made my opposition to e-levy known privately. I didn't come out publicly to let you know about it, but really, in principle, I was against it, but I didn't come out publicly. Is that something that you would accept, a position you would accept?
I mean, it depends upon how it is framed. I am a little more skeptical than most people in the street. So I, for example, will look to see whether if you didn't disagree publicly, which I agree you can't do as vice president, whether in private you vigorously argued that those were mistakes. And if you can prove that you did, then that helps. And of course, other people will point out the fact that people were giving you credit for management of the economy and other things when things were going well. So then it becomes more difficult to say that your input was not being taken. But it can be done. The question is how credible the denials are.
Was very prominent going into this was the concerns about vote buying and so on, and monies being shared, which all the others did come out. At least Dr. Efria Koto was the one who said whatever monies he had to give to the delegates, he gave to the party. So he didn't give TNT. But we've had the amounts that were given out of TNT on the day of the election, plus what was given before the election itself. This increasing influence of money in voting or getting people to vote for it, that certainly must be of concern to you, even as a leading member of the party, is it not?
It should concern all Ghanaians, not just those in the MPP. I think that this influence of money has been climbing exponentially with every succeeding election in the Fourth Republic, and we've seen the apogee of it. This is not just in the party primaries. Of course, the NDC primaries too, there was money, but this was really unprecedented. And not only that, this is not just in internal party elections. It is even for election of DCs when we saw people openly trying to pay money to district assembly members to vote for them, and we did nothing about it. I think that as a nation, we need to come to grips with this because corrupt parties and primary systems can never produce honest governments. And I think that from my point of view, the biggest issues of this election should be corruption, nepotism, and incompetence.
Nepotism, corruption, nepotism, and incompetence. So if you had to score this administration on all these three elements you've mentioned, what would it be?
It will be an F on all of them, but of course, the previous Mahama government got defeated in 2016 because of corruption and some of those other charges. So it will be a dueling campaigns to point out each other's faults and each other's weaknesses. I actually will be looking for the positives about who can help us end this thing, because I believe that the biggest problem bedeviling Ghana's politics and causing underdevelopment is corruption and nepotism.
And then on that point, that leads up to the how much of an impact the candidate or the candidate's running mate would have on the person. John Mahama is yet to choose his running mate. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia he's been just elected. A number of names have already come up as considerations for his running mate. From where you sit, these four names, Dr. Matthew Poku-Prempeh, Osechi Mensah-Bonsu, Kennedy Agyapong, and then Dr. Yawe Duchum. These four. Who would your choice be?
Well, I mean, the choice of running mate is always the prerogative of the presidential candidate, and it tells you who he is going to be in terms of making decisions. I think that in terms of signaling that he can understand the yearning for change and integrity and plain speaking, Kennedy Agyapong deserves serious consideration as a running mate on the MPP side. If you come to Alan, he is an independent candidate, so who he chooses as his running mate, particularly since the bulk of his campaign will focus on winning account votes, then the question is who he brings on board to try and show his weaknesses. John Mahama didn't quite make it with the choice of running mate the last time. And there are a lot of very well-informed people who think that maybe he should look elsewhere and reconsider, and that maybe looking for a running mate in a place like the Volta region or Ashanti region might be the wise thing to do. So all those are combinations that we are yet to see.
Right.
And sometimes, you know, running mates might come with very good reputations, but once you pick them, they are not very effective on the campaign trail. So all those are things that we are yet to
see play out.
Dr. Evolve.
Arthur Kennedy, I really, really thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Kennedy is a medical doctor by profession and also a member of the NPP. He's joining us from his base in the United States. Thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. Dr. Asante is a senior political science lecturer at the University of Ghana, Lagon. Dr. Asante, thank you so much for the patience in appearing. Dr. Arthur Kennedy just ended on the point about his choice of running mate, Kennedy Agyapong, in his view, based on his showing over the weekend. But from your own political lenses, is it the kind of running mate that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia want to have or the party want to consider?
When you look at everything about Ken, is the material worth considering? Of course, we know his strengths and we know his weaknesses as well. If you see the performance he put up, splendid performance, I have no doubt in my mind. But the weaknesses he has are also there for the world to know. If Bawumia believes that he's the best one and you want to combine, fine. But they must be prepared to be able to deal with their baggages. He, Bawumia, as a vice president, also has his baggage. And then Ken too. The way they manage it is a function of their leadership skill. If that's the two want to team up and restore and work to maintain political power. But as to whether that will be the decision of the neck, the neck, and then the party's council is another thing. Because remember, this decision are taken by the NEC and then the National Council. They decide on these matters, of course, with the flag bearer having his input in. So it's not that simple. And right. If that is the case, why not? But they must be prepared for pluses and minuses.
We'll see how things play out in the coming days. Obviously, the choice, as you indicated, choice of both candidates and whoever they intend to consult on the advice of who has to be chosen. But I know you've been doing quite some work ahead of December 7, 2024. Now, today is November 7, which is what? Some 13 months away from December 7, 2024. Now, what are some of the factors, based on the work you've done so far, that would influence voter choices, Dr. Sasanti?
That argument is baseless. Are you saying that Ken is not a material that MPP people, at least some people, will follow him and vote for him?
Right.
You can say that. Are we saying that the people who voted are all disgruntled people who are for Alan, but because of Alan's exit, they have given their votes to Ken, and Ken naturally doesn't have anybody who will support him? It can also be, we can say that. If you move the conversation further, are we saying that those who voted for him, all of them voted based on protests that they are launching within the NPP? And that is why Ken got the vote that he got. It's a mix of factors, including the fact that Ken himself is a material that the party believe that they need to consider for that position. That cannot be wished away.
Great.
It is a fact, a hard fact, of course.
And I was making reference to this, and earlier we put out a poll. Take a look at this, at least based on the outcome that we got from our own polls, and as to whether if Ken Agyapong goes with Dr. Bawumia, what are the issues that are going to be considered, plus also what plays out with John Mahama. Now, you say this. Now, jobs, corruption, economy, all of the above. All of the above, in fact, all the respondents we've had from this poll say economy, jobs, corruption, all of the above are going to be the issues they will consider, Dr. Sasanti, in this. 51.2%, 9.7% for corruption, jobs 18%, and then the economy 21.1%. That's the pointers that when you spoke to us earlier, that indication that you gave about the pointers or the issues that would influence voter choices. Economy, jobs, corruption. Now, when we put your pointers to the public, in fact, this poll is still running on TV3 Ghana, on X, and then also on Facebook. The respondents say economy, 21%, jobs, 18%, but corruption as well, 9.7%. But if you put it all of the above, all these three would be major considerations for them. So that's for you, Dr. Sasanti, either in the case of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and if you select Ken Agyapong, or John Mahama going with his also his own running mate. The issues don't change for them. And so we'll see how things play out, especially with this conversation about who partners them and what difference this is going to make in all the three issues that you put out earlier. Appreciate your time. But coming up next on Ghana Tonight, the Commission for the Human Rights Administrative Justice is finding for the board chair of the Ghana Airports Company Limited, Paul Adomotri, of having abused his office in the procurement of Christmas trees. But they failed to surcharge or recommend his removal, as the complainant was seeking Shraj to do. So then, what next for the complainant? Is going to be joining us. Stay with us right after this quick break. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. This is Ghana Tonight. Now, the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice, Shraj, they have instructed the board chairman of the Ghana Airports Company Limited and journalist Paul Adomotri to desist from interfering with the day-to-day management of the institution. Now, this is part of a report that found him, that's Paul Adomotri, culpable of abuse of office and breach of procurement rules in the acquisition of Christmas trees to decorate the airport. Now, the report, however, fails to disallow and surcharge him or recommend his removal as board chair, as the complainant in this case was seeking to have Shraj do. Now, I'm going to show you the key parts of this 63-page Shraj report. We've been, looking at a number of the issues captured in there. Now, take a look. These are the key areas, but it's 63 pages, so you can understand that we cannot put it all out. Now, these were the reliefs that the petitioner was seeking, that a declaration that the respondent, that's Paul Adomotri, has breached several provisions of the public procurement law, the public financial management law, and principles of corporate governance in the procurement of Christmas tree decorations in December 2021. That was partly granted. The charge granted this partly, and I'll tell you. Secondly, the petitioner was seeking an order directed at the Ghana Airports Company Limited to surcharge Paul Adomotri for the amounts involved in the procurement breaches and to recommend his removal as board chair. That was not granted. And then also, the petitioner was seeking that a reference by the commission that Shraj to the appropriate authorities of its investigations and recommendations for the prosecution of Paul Adomotri. That was also not granted. Eventually, and in responses to some of these issues, Paul Adomotri, after, according to Shraj's report, he was subpoenaed to appear before Shraj and indicated that they didn't acquire or buy the Christmas tree. They rented them since 2018 till date. Now, there are other findings, a lot more. Let me just establish it just for the purpose of context. Take a look at this. Now, the summary of the findings by Shraj is that the respondent, that's Paul Adomotri, partly interfered in the procurement of the Christmas inspirations. That's the Christmas decorations, by the Ghana Airports Company Limited in 2021 by making demands for invoices. He wanted to see the invoices on the purchases. 2, the interference by the respondent, that's Paul Adomotri, in the procurement of Christmas inspirations by the management of Ghana Airports Company Limited in 2021 amounted to abuse of office. The interference of the respondent, Paul Adomotri, in the procurement of Christmas trees by the Ghana Airports Company and communications by him were contrary to the principles of corporate governance. And then also, Shraj says that the Ghana Airports Company Limited has, over the years from 2018 to date, been renting these Christmas inspirations without recourse to the Procurement Act 2003, Act 663, as amended. So that was established that indeed the Ghana Airports Company has been doing this with renting these Christmas decorations without recourse to the Public Procurement Act as amended. That was established. That's one of the reliefs that this petitioner was seeking. This was the decision that was eventually taken by Shraj, that the Ghana Airports Company Limited should henceforth apply the provisions of Public Procurement Act 2003, Act 663, as amended, in the renting of Christmas inspirations and all renting situations it may engage in. Also, that the respondent should desist henceforth from commenting on procurement issues in the Ghana Airports Company Limited in the media, that's on his program, either in his personal capacity or as board chair, so long as he remains on the board of the Ghana Airports Company, and that the respondent should desist from interfering in the day-to-day administration of the Ghana Airports Company and leave same to management. Now, Sakut Amenga Etego is the petitioner in this case against Paul Adomotri, the board chair of the Ghana Airports Company. Sakut, thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. So, Shraj granted about 50% of the demands or the relief that you were seeking them to do, but to surcharge Paul Adomotri or have him sacked as board chair of Ghana Airports Company, they said, well, no, I mean, they didn't grant you that. Disappointed?
Okay, thank you very much. I would say that I received this report with a mixed feeling. Mixed feeling in the sense that I will compare it to Shraj being a very good barking dog. But then when it gets to the point for the dog to bite, it fails to bite. Because if you have thoroughly read the report, and I've seen that a lot of people, including journalists who are talking about this report tonight, have not read it. It's 53 pages. If you read the report, you realize clearly that it's a total indictment on the Ghana Airport Company Limited and a partial indictment on Paul Adomotri. A partial indictment on Paul Adomotri because Shraj decided that, look, they would not let him take a responsibility, personal responsibility for corporate misdeeds. And so, although since 2018, the Ghana Airport Company Limited has breached the procurement laws, they bypassed it, and they went to Shraj to actually argue that because they've not been buying the Christmas trees outright, they've been renting them. They don't deem that to be procurement. And Shraj was very, very emphatic, quoting all kinds of sources, foreign, out of the jurisdiction and in Ghana, and to support the point that it is procurement as long as public funds are used. And so that is very, very clear, and I'm happy about that. They also say clearly that Paul Adomotri has abused his office because as board chairman, it is not your duty to get involved in the day-to-day management of the company. And clearly, by getting involved in procurement, he has abused his office by getting involved in this day-to-day management of the company. And he's been asked to desist from it. And also, clearly, they are asking the Public Procurement Authority to amend the law and to define very clearly what procurement is, because the Ghana Airport Company Limited and Paul Adomotri relied on ambiguity in the law to pretend that they did not consider renting as procurement. Meanwhile, in the same breath, the report indicates, and Shraj says it clearly, that the fact that they divided the amounts among two companies, in order that they don't reach the threshold of 100,000 Ghana cedis for one company, means clearly that they were trying to avoid the Public Procurement Act. They were trying to go around it, because if they had given it to one company, it would have been beyond the 100,000 threshold.
Right.
And that means a tender process must take place, advertising must take place. So the fact that they split it means that they were aware that the Public Procurement Act had to come to play, so they were trying to avoid it. And
so
yet,
I wanted to establish this. I mean, all of that, what you're saying is captured in the report, and I displayed a few of them. So you're saying that you received mixed feelings, you are partly happy and unhappy on the other side as well. So do you intend to take this matter beyond Shraj to look into other questions of accountability, since you say you are not satisfied with the outcome?
Well, I would say that already what has happened so far is a great contribution to our democratic development, to the fight against corruption, public accountability, and democratic accountability. But I will also want to invite the special prosecutor at this point to get involved with this matter, because procurement-related corruption is also within the remits of the special prosecutor. And the special prosecutor don't necessarily need to be petitioned to get involved when they hear these matters. Look, when it came to the issue of the sanitation minister, nobody petitioned the special prosecutor. He got involved. And I think that I want to invite this special prosecutor, if he's listening and he and his agents are listening, they should get involved, they should take the report, and they should take further steps if they truly want to fight corruption. If they don't, I might consider going to personally petition the special prosecutor's office using this report from Strike, because it is an indictment, but it falls short of recommending punishment. And for me, it can only be hidden political hands.
That's exactly what the hidden hands are. But we're out of time. Sakut Amenga Etego, thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. As a petitioner in this Ghana Airports Company Limited, the Kotoka International Airport Christmas tree saga, says he's taking it up to special prosecutor. We'll see how things play out in that area as well. But I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us. And thank you as well for watching here on Ghana Tonight. On behalf of the rest of the team, we do appreciate your company. Join us same time tomorrow for another conversation. There's more news on 3news.com. I am Alfred Akansi. Have a good night.